Hello students, I welcome to all of you to this session of refrigeration. Dear students, myself Dhiraj Mondal, Assistant Professor JIS College of Engineering, and you know that I have taken one lecture on refrigeration and air conditioning. That was your introductory video. So I hope all of you have gone through that lecture. Today we are going to discuss about the refrigeration system, unit of the refrigeration. Then we will be discussing about the refrigerant. Then what are the desirable properties of the refrigerant, that will be discussed. Then we will be talking about the vapor compression refrigerant system. And as I have seen that some problem, that if you don't know the concept of thermodynamics little bit, then it will be more difficult to understand this subject. So that is why I feel that I will discuss little bit thermodynamics which are applicable in this subject, in this syllabus. So without wasting any time, let us discuss. This is Dhiraj Mondal. You can connect me here. Okay, this is about me, and all the lecture will be uploaded in this YouTube channel, DM Study Center. This is a link. If you want to get the notification, any kind of PDF or notes, digital notes and all this, you may subscribe my Telegram channel also. In Telegram, DM Study Center official, one Telegram channel is made only for you. Here you will get lot of videos, lot of notes, and everyday newspaper and all this GS related subject. Okay, now this is my Facebook page. Okay, and this is all about me. I am Assistant Professor, JIS College of Engineering, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Mechanical Engineering Department. Now you know that last class I discussed about the course objective, course outcome, then COPO mapping. This was your syllabus, textbook also referred. Okay, now today we are going to discuss about the process, how the thermodynamic cycle is operated, and what are the unit of refrigeration unit, what is 1 ton of refrigeration. All this will be discussed. So let us start. So first of all, you see that if I want to talk about the thermodynamic system, then we can say that a system of a finite quantity of matter or a prescribed region of space is called your system. That means some finite or specified quantity of matter which is bounded by or surrounded by a boundary, okay, is called your system. Okay, if it is surrounded by a boundary, then it is called system, and outside the system is called your surrounding. Now let us discuss what do you mean by thermodynamics, because this thermodynamics chapter is very important, the first chapter mainly. So basic concept of thermodynamics I am going to discuss here, because this is applicable everywhere. Because when we are talking, we will be talking about the isolated system, when we will be talking about the properties of the system, when we will be talking about the phase, homogeneous system, isentropic process, in your microscopic viewpoint, macroscopic viewpoint, then you will feel that, sir, from where this point, this topic, this particular technical term is coming. Okay, so based on all the student, that means all the student, you are just going through this part, the level of student may be differing. Okay, so that is why I am going to talk about the little bit the concept of thermodynamics. Okay, first of all, what do you mean by what is the definition of thermodynamics? Basically there are so many definition of the thermodynamics. Basically thermodynamics is an axiomatic science which deals with the relation among heat, work and properties of the system which are in equilibrium. It describes state and change in state of physical system, or you can say the thermodynamics is science of the regularities governing process of energy conversion. Okay, energy conversion, regularity governing energy conversion. Okay, or you can say thermodynamics is science that deals with the interaction between energy and material system. Okay, so these are the definition of thermodynamics. Okay, thermodynamics is basically entail four laws. What are those? One is your zeroth laws, first law, second law, and third law. Okay, third law of thermodynamics. So first of all, first law of thermodynamics, basically it is a concept of internal energy. And zeroth law deals with the thermal equilibrium and establishes concept of temperature. Second law indicates the limit of converting heat into work and introduces the principle of increase of entropy. How entropy increases, that is told by second law. And what are the limitation? Can I convert total heat into work? So that is discussed here. And third law defines the absolute zero of entropy. Okay, now as I have told you that what is the definition of system: a finite quantity of matter or a prescribed region of space which is bounded by or surrounded by boundary. Now what do you mean by boundary? Basically boundary, the actual or hypothetical envelope enclosing the system is the boundary of the system. That means let us consider this is a room. Now this is your system. Okay, now this wall is called your boundary, and outside this wall it is called surrounding. Clear? Now if I talk about the types of system, there are mainly three types of system. You know, the closed system, open system, and isolated system. Okay, so what do you mean by closed system? If the boundary of the system is improvised, that means you know that this is your boundary, this is your boundary. Now if the boundary of the system is that means there is some pressure, there is some volume, temperature, and all this. So energy, there is some mass, energy. So what I want to say that in case of open system, the open system is one in which matter flows into or out of the system. Most of the engineering system, that means your mass interaction and energy interaction both are possible here. But in case of, that means open system means your total your flow, water is flowing from one point to another point. Now if I am talking about the cup of tea, then what cup of tea, then what we will see the heat is released. Okay, so energy is coming out from the system, but the mass is not changing. So mass is fixed, but energy can be released. Okay, so that is your closed system. And what is isolated system? Neither energy nor mass, nothing can exchange from system to surrounding or surrounding to system. What do you mean by adiabatic system? Adiabatic system, adiabatic, you know that adiabatic, diabatic. So adiabatic means what? What the or adiabatic system is an system in which this adiabatic system is one in which the thermally insulated from an surrounding. It can however exchange work with its surrounding. That means this is your wall. Now this is your adiabatic. If I say that this is an adiabatic wall, that means heat transfer is not possible. Okay, heat transfer is not possible. Heat transfer is zero. Okay, so and what do you mean by phase? The phase is a quantity of matter which is homogeneous throughout the chemical composition and physical structure. That means liquid phase and gaseous phase, solid phase, like this. What do you mean by homogeneous system? A system which consists of a single phase is termed as homogeneous system. Okay, that means mixture of air and water vapor, water plus nitric acid and octane plus heptane. These are the homogeneous system. Clear? A system which consists of a single phase or is termed as homogeneous. Single phase. Now, if I am talking about the heterogeneous system, then a system which consists of two or more phases is called heterogeneous system. Example: water plus steam, ice plus water, water plus oil, like this. Clear? Now, if I am talking about the study, that means in two point of view we can study the thermodynamics. One is your macroscopic view and another is your microscopic view. This macroscopic view is called your classical thermodynamics and microscopic viewpoint is called your statistical thermodynamics. Basically we are talking about the classical thermodynamics. Okay, so macroscopic viewpoint means microscopic. First of all, let us understand what is macroscopic. That in this room there is some pressure, and because of that pressure this kind of activity is done. So it is your macroscopic viewpoint. Now how in case of microscopic viewpoint, if you have to examine why the pressure is generated. So we know that pressure is generated because of the molecular momentum between the molecules. Okay, so pressure is because of the molecular momentum between the molecules. So that is the microscopic viewpoint. Okay, you are coming into details in the molecular level and you are analyzing the particular situation. Okay, so that is your microscopic viewpoint. So I think it is clear. Now if I am talking about the pure substance, see this term will be coming afterward, that is why I am talking about this. These are the subject, that means these are coming under the thermodynamics. Okay, now let us consider, that means if I am talking about the pure substance is one that has a homogeneous and invariable chemical composition even though there is a change of phase. Phase is changing even though the invariable chemical composition and homogeneous already I have told you. A system which consists of a single phase is termed as homogeneous. So this is all about the, or you can say that it is a or pure substance. Pure substance, एक minute. Pure substance. You can say it is a system which is a homogeneous in composition, homogeneous in chemical aggregation. Example: liquid water mixture, mixture of liquid water and steam, mixture of ice and water. These are the pure substance. Okay. Now if I am talking about the thermodynamic equilibrium, then we can say that a system is in thermal equilibrium if the temperature and pressure of all points are same. Okay, there should be no velocity gradient. The chemical equilibrium is also necessary. System under temperature and pressure equilibrium but not under chemical equilibrium are sometimes said to be a metastable equilibrium condition. So it is only under thermodynamic equilibrium condition that the properties of a system can be fixed. Now there are mainly three types of equilibrium we will be talking about. First is thermal equilibrium. So what is thermal equilibrium? The temperature of the system does not change with time and has same value at all points of the system. Clear? So The thermal equilibrium means your thermal equilibrium temperature is fixed. Now if I am talking about the mechanical equilibrium, then there is no unstable forces within the system or between the surrounding is called your, that means the pressure in the system is same at all points and does not change with respect to the time. So pressure gradient, or you can say work, that means your this is the that means there is not any kind of unbalanced force between system or between the surrounding, between the system and surrounding. That is your mechanical equilibrium. Okay, and if we are talking about the chemical equilibrium, then we can say no chemical reaction takes place in the system and chemical composition which is same throughout the system does not vary with time. So that is called your chemical equilibrium. I think it is clear. That means A and B reacting together, we have got C and D, and right now this is in stable position, nothing is happening here. Now properties of the system. What do you mean by properties? Properties. A property of a system is a characteristic of the system which depends upon its state but not upon how the state is reached. Okay, so there are two sort of the property: intensive property and extensive property. That means, like if this point and this point A and B, now this may come through this way, this may come through this way, this may come through this way. So different path can be taken by the whatever by different system, but the property basically, the property of a system is a characteristic of the system which depends upon its state, which state it is right now, in which state, but not upon how the state is reached, how it is coming. That is that it is not it not bother about the how it is coming. Okay, so intensive property means the property do not depend upon the, intensive means independent, depend upon the mass of the system, independent of mass. Example, temperature, pressure. Okay, so these are the intensive property. Clear? Now let us talk about the extensive property. So if I am extending the system, the property is changing. That means it is depending upon the mass. Okay, specific volume is one kind of intensive property, but volume is the extensive property. Okay, we know that specific volume is volume per unit mass. Okay, now let us talk about the state. What do you mean by state? State is the condition of the system at an instant of the time as described or measured by its properties. Okay, or is unique condition of a system is called state. Okay, so this is your definition of state. Now if I am talking about the cycle, let us consider this is your a PV diagram. Now there is a point A and B. Now this, to reach the point A to B, you can take this path, you can take this path, you can this. So all this A 1 2 3. So A 1 B B 3 A. Okay, so this is your a cycle. Cycle is completed. Okay. Now if I am talking about the point function, when the two properties locate a point through the graph, then those properties are called point function. Clear? What do you mean by path function? There are certain quantities which cannot be located on the graph by a point but are given by the area or so on that graph. In that case, the area of the graph pertaining the particular process is a function of the path of the process. Such quantities are called path function. So here basically if I am talking about this PV diagram whatever, so here from A to B you may take this path, you may take this path, you may take this path. So 1 2 3. Okay, so A and B, these are the what? Point function. And path is you may take 1A, B is a path. Okay. Now the basically this work and heat, it is depending upon the path, but the pressure, temperature, volume, these are the example of point function. That means if it is your room, then temperature and pressure of this room will be equal everywhere. It is not depending upon the mass. If you are increasing the mass or anything else, then the temperature, pressure, that means it will not changing. Okay, but in case of path function, if you are changing the rest of the parameter like this, let us consider, you know that PV diagram is the representation of the PV diagram is the representation of work transfer. If this path is taken, then this mass work is done. If this path is taken, then extra amount of this mass work is done by the system. So it is depending upon the path. So heat and work, and TS diagram also. TS diagram is the representation of the heat transfer. Clear? So that is why you can say heat and work, these are the path function, but temperature, pressure, these are volume, temperature, pressure, these are the point function. So it is, I hope it is clear. Now come to the point, zeroth law of thermodynamics. What is zeroth law of thermodynamics? Zeroth law of thermodynamics tells us that if A, B and C is stated that if two systems are each equal, that means if the two systems are in thermal equilibrium to each other, A and B are thermal equilibrium to each other, and C and B are also thermal equilibrium to each other, then A, B, C all are in thermal equilibrium. Okay, no matter whether this wall is diathermic or adiabatic. Okay, again I am telling you A, B, C. Now this wall is made by wooden surface, that this is your adiabatic wall, this wall is your diathermic wall made of metal. So if A and B are in thermal equilibrium and B and C also in thermal equilibrium, then A, B, C all are in thermal equilibrium. Clear? Next come to the next point, that is your zeroth law of thermodynamics. I think it is clear. Now let us, what do you mean by pressure? Pressure basically it is force per unit area is called your pressure. Now if I am talking about the first law of thermodynamics, what is first law of thermodynamics? First law of thermodynamics, basically when a system undergoes a thermal equilibrium, undergoes a thermodynamic cycle, then the net heat supplied to the system from the surrounding is equal to net work done by the system on its surrounding. That means cyclic integral of delta Q is equal to cyclic integral of delta W is called your, it is your from thermodynamics, first law of thermodynamics. Net heat is equal to net work. Okay, this is your first law of thermodynamics. Now the first law of thermodynamics is basically represents the internal energy. Okay, now if I am talking about the entropy, entropy is what? Degrees of disorderness. How much disorderness is there, that is your told by entropy. If I am talking about the specific heat, then what is the definition of specific heat? The specific heat of a solid or liquid is usually defined as the heat required to raise its unit mass through 1 degree temperature rise. If you want to raise 1 degree temperature, then how much heat is needed, that is your specific heat. If I am talking about the enthalpy, enthalpy is basically the algebraic sum of internal energy and multiplication of the pressure volume. Okay, so these are the terms which will be needed when we will be talking about the refrigeration. Okay, so remember, these are very important term. And a last thing what we are going to discuss, that is your second law of thermodynamics. Very important. Second law of thermodynamics. Second law. So let us discuss the second law of thermodynamics. What is there are mainly two types of second law of thermodynamics. Number one, Kelvin-Planck statement. And number two is your Clausius statement. Clausius statement. What is Kelvin-Planck statement? Basically, it is impossible to construct an engine which while operating in a cycle produces no other effect except to extract heat from a single reservoir and do equivalent amount of work. What does it mean? See, in this diagram you can see, this is your source temperature T1, and remember T1 is very greater than T2, and this is your sink where heat is released or heat is rejected, and some no ek minute. So it's basically in this diagram, let us consider this is your heat engine. Some Q1 amount of heat is added to the system from this T1 reservoir, and W amount of work is done by the system, and Q2 amount of heat is rejected to the surrounding in T2 reservoir. So 100% heat to work conversion is not possible. That is told by Kelvin-Planck statement. It is impossible to construct an engine, impossible to construct an engine which while operating in a cycle produces no other effect. That means Q2 amount of heat has to be rejected to the surrounding. Okay, if you want to convert heat into work, because you know that heat is the low grade energy and work is the high grade energy. So low grade to high grade energy you can't convert, 100% conversion cannot be possible. Okay, so no other effect except to extract heat from a single reservoir and do equivalent amount of work. Equivalent amount of work cannot be possible. Okay, so this is all about the Kelvin-Planck statement. Now come to the Clausius statement. Basically Kelvin-Planck statement is by the help of Kelvin-Planck statement the IC engine works. And if I am talking about the Clausius statement, then refrigeration cycle is working on Clausius statement. It is impossible, Clausius statement, Clausius statement. It is impossible for a self-acting machine working in a cyclic process underrated by any external agency to convey heat from a body at a lower temperature to a higher body at higher temperature to a body at higher temperature. So I think you haven't got my point. Again I am telling you, it is impossible to construct a device which is continuously transferring heat from a lower temperature reservoir to a higher temperature reservoir without any external effect. So if you want to convert the heat from a lower temperature reservoir to a higher temperature reservoir, then some work has to be done on the system, otherwise it is not possible. That is told by the Clausius statement. So I hope it is clear. Now this based on this Clausius statement, this this cycle, whatever you can see, it is your based on this clause. Now let us consider Q2 amount of heat is added extracted from the system, and it is your refrigeration cycle where W amount of work is done and Q1 amount of heat is released to the surrounding. So if I am talking about the refrigerator, then is refrigerator, for in case of refrigeration, if I am talking about the COP, coefficient of performance, then coefficient of performance is equal to desired effect by work input. So desired effect is your Q2, that because this amount of heat is extracted from the system, and work input is your Q1 minus Q2. So we can write this equation. Next, heat pump. In case of heat pump, COP of the heat pump is equal to Q1 by W, that is your Q1 by W minus W, because in case of heat pump, the heat is pumped to the system. Okay, outside temperature is low but inside temperature high, although I have to pump some heat. So in case of your hilly area, or you can say that in your no, in your northern hemisphere, like Russia, Russia, Norway, Finland, in this country, you will see that surrounding temperature is your minus 5 degrees centigrade, but system temperature you have to maintain 15 degrees centigrade. So some heat has to be injected to the system. So by the help of heat pump it is done. So that is why the effect is heat, what Q1 amount of heat is added. So that is your refrigeration effect, and work input is the same, Q1 minus Q2. So this is how. And also we can write that COP of the heat pump, COP of heat pump is equal to 1 plus COP of the refrigerator. So that last class I discussed. Now here basically this is your Carnot, reverse Carnot cycle. So that means how it is operated. This is your evaporator. What is the function of evaporator? Evaporator is a device which is basically used to evaporate a particular substance and changing its phase, that means from liquid to gas, or gas to, that means it is basically evaporating. Whatever the matter is given in the evaporator, that is evaporate by taking latent heat. Okay, what is latent heat? It is one type of heat where the phase is changing but temperature remain unchanged. What do you mean sensible heat? Basically by the help of sensible heat, what happened, the temperature is rising but it is not changing its phase. Okay, so in evaporator, the heat, when heat is added, then whatever the refrigerant here, what is refrigerant? Refrigerant is a working fluid which is basically used to maintain a temperature below than that of the surrounding temperature. What is refrigeration? Refrigeration is a science or process through which a lower temperature region can be maintained compared to the surrounding temperature. Okay, now when the refrigerant is connecting with a heat, Q2 amount of heat, then it start evaporating and it is coming to the compressor. In the compressor, the refrigerant is compressed, then your temperature and pressure is raised, and when it is coming to the condenser, it is nothing but a heat exchanger. By the help of cooling water, by the help of evaporative cooling, by the help of air, the particular substance is condensed, and again its phase changing from vapor to liquid, and at the outlet of the condenser we are getting liquid, high pressure liquid refrigerant. And here in the expansion device, expansion valve, it may be some copper coil, capillary tube, and your anything else. So this expansion valve, it is basically expanding whatever the substance is in at the inlet of the expansion valve. Suddenly it is changing its volume and expanding, and as you know that if the volume is increasing, then pressure is decreasing, temperature is also decreasing. So that is why at the outlet of the evaporator, what we are getting? We are getting the low temperature, low pressure vapor, liquid refrigerant, and when it is coming here, you will see that the particular in the evaporator, some heat is added from the surrounding, and again that heat is taken and it is again coming to the compressor. Okay, so this is how the cycle is operated. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Now the COP of the refrigerant, it is already it is discussed. Now if I am talking about the unit of the refrigerant generation, what is the unit? Basically in the practical unit of refrigeration is expressed in terms of ton or TONNE, ton of refrigeration. Briefly it is also TOR, ठीक है. A ton of refrigeration is defined as the amount of refrigeration effect produced by uniform melting of 1 ton, that means your 1000 kg of ice, and at 0 degree centigrade in 24 hours. Okay, since the latent heat of the ice is 335 kilojoule per kg, therefore 1 ton of refrigeration or 1 torr is equal to 1000 into 335 kilojoule in 24 hour or 232.6 kilojoule per minute. Okay, in actual practice 1 ton of refrigerant is taken as equivalent of 210 kilojoule per minute or 3.5 kilowatt. What does it mean? Basically, let us consider this is your 0 degree centigrade water. Now from this 0 degree centigrade water to 0 degree centigrade ice, 24 आवर में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए जितना आपका हीट विथड्रॉ करना पड़ता है, ठीक है. ओके, सो बेसिकली इट इज़ डिफाइंड एज द अमाउंट ऑफ रेफ्रिजरेशन इफेक्ट प्रोड्यूस, कितना रेफ्रिजरेशन इफेक्ट हम प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं, ठीक है. दैट मीन्स कितना हीट हम यहाँ से विथड्रॉ करेंगे, ठीक है. तो अमाउंट ऑफ हीट एक्सट्रैक्टेड फ्रॉम ए 0 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड वाटर टू वाटर इन 24 आवर्स to get it 0 degree centigrade ice, कितना 1000, 1 ton of water. Okay, so that means the weight of the water is given 1000 kg water. To convert 1000 kg of water, 0 degree centigrade water, to 1000 kg of 0 degree centigrade ice, how much heat has to be extracted from the system? That is your refrigeration effect. And 1 torr or 1 ton of refrigeration means, that means 210 kilojoule per minute heat has to be extracted from the system so that it may be possible, or 3.5 kilojoule per second, kilojoule per second heat has to be extracted from the system so that that particular process can be maintained. So I hope it is clear unit of the refrigerant. So you just, when you are just in any shopping mall or anywhere, you want to buy a refrigeration, the AC, then always you see that 1 ton of AC, 1.5 ton of AC. Okay, like this. So what does it mean? Basically 1 ton of AC means it is having some ability to produce 0 degree centigrade 0 degree centigrade water to 0 degree centigrade ice in 24 hours. I am talking about 1000 kg, 1 ton of water. Okay, 1000 kg वाटर टू 1000 kg आइस प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए 24 आवर्स लगता है. 1 टन रेफ्रिजरेशन जो बोलते हैं ना, उसके मतलब, ठीक है. तो इसकी ऐसे इसका कैपेसिटी डिफाइन किया जाता है. सो आई थिंक इट इज़ क्लियर. नेक्स्ट क्लास वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट द रेफ्रिजरेंट एंड डिजायरेबल प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ द रेफ्रिजरेंट एंड रिलेटेड थिंग्स. And VCRS, vapor compression refrigerant system, will be discussed in the next class. So I think it is clear, and all these lecture will be uploaded in my YouTube channel. So keep following my channel DM Study Center, and subscribe my channel to get, and press the bell icon to get everyday notification. ठीक है. So ये जो चैप्टर है ये आपका मतलब जो है, इसलिए हम ज़्यादा टाइम वेस्ट किए, क्योंकि वाई, बिकॉज यू नीड टू नो बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ थर्मोडायनेमिक्स, अदरवाइज आप नहीं समझ पाओगे ना। तो हम लोग नेक्स्ट क्लास से पूरा रेफ्रिजरेशन जो प्रोसेस हम लोग पढ़ाने गए थे, टोटल दैट रेफ्रिजरेशन सिस्टम VCRS कैसे काम करते हैं, ऑल दिस विल बी डिस्कस इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. सो टुडे अप टू दिस, थैंक यू फॉर लिसनिंग. जय हिंद.